What's the rush? You could have called before coming over. Mom, I'm shocked. Excuse me? Mom, you raised me as a single mom, and I'm really grateful for that. You were strict sometimes, and I didn't like it back then, but now I realize you were trying to keep me on the right path. I truly appreciate that. You've always been loving. Oh, thank you. But what you did to Mary, was that out of love? You pushed her to that point and you call yourself a mother? Henry, my son, burst into the house furious, and he claims I've driven my daughter-in-law, Mary, to the edge. What on earth is he talking about? First, I need to calm down an emotional Henry. How about we sit down and talk? Can you first tell me what's going on with Mary? You know exactly what's going on. Mary is in this state because of you. I grab Henry's hand. Finally, he stops his verbal tirade. Calmed down? We can't have a conversation like this. Just answer my question. What's happening with Mary? Henry regains his composure and starts talking about the current situation. Mary has been feeling unwell for a while now, spending a lot of time in bed. I thought about taking her to the hospital, but she insisted that she would be fine if she just rested, but she keeps getting worse. What was the cause? Upon hearing this, Henry gives me a glaring look. That's the point! It was you, Mom! You get it, right? What do you mean? You've been harassing Mary with phone calls, haven't you? And now she's developed a mental illness because of it. What? I was shocked at what Henry had just told me. I never did anything like what Mary is claiming. In fact, I was kind to her for a specific reason. What is Mary saying now? She said she can't sleep at night and has started blaming herself all because of you, Mom. Is this how a mother behaves? All the gratitude we had feels like it's gone to waste. Henry looked at me, disappointment filling his eyes. I am certain that Mary is lying about the situation. A few months ago, Mary came to visit our home because she said she needed to talk. Usually, she visits with Henry, so I found it odd that she came alone. Her voice sounded down, so I had a hunch this wasn't going to be a pleasant conversation. When she arrived, her face looked more troubled than I'd ever seen it. Something is definitely wrong here. Thinking that, I invited her in to find out what was happening. I wanted to start with small talk to make it easier for her, but she didn't seem up to it. Figuring we couldn't beat around the bush forever, I decided to get to the point. So, what did you want to talk about? Mary, who had been looking down with a gloomy expression, finally spoke. The truth is, I'm short on money. What? It was totally unexpected. I had thought she was financially comfortable, since Henry was sending her money. That's why I was surprised. Why are you running low on money? Did Henry get a pay cut or something? No. Then what's the reason? If you can share, please tell me. Suddenly, Mary burst into tears. I've been thinking over and over that I shouldn't, but I just couldn't resist. Resist? What are you talking about? The lottery. What? It was completely unexpected. She was short on money because she had been spending it on the lottery. But it wasn't just that. She had also been pouring money into beauty treatments. Before she knew it, the debt had piled up to an amount she couldn't mention to Henry. Why didn't you tell Henry? If you did, he might... Henry hates wasteful spending. I know he'd be furious if I told him. I've been spending money on the lottery. Yeah, that makes sense. Henry has always been good with money. He's not one to spend frivolously, but he's generous when treating others. Knowing him, he would definitely be upset if he found out Mary had been spending money on the lottery. She's counting on me, and that's understandable. But what should I do? If Henry finds out I've been secretly lending Mary money, he'd hate it for sure. Maybe I should secretly tell Henry. No, if Henry blows up over this, it could drive a wedge between them. Worst case, they might go their separate ways. What should I do? Then Mary asks me again. Please, I'm begging you. I promise I'll pay you back. Can you just lend me enough to cover the monthly payments? Last time was okay because I was home, but we've been getting late payment notices. If Henry finds out, we might even divorce. Please, Emma. Mary was desperate. I couldn't just brush her off after she'd pleaded so much. Okay, fine. I'll send you just enough to cover the monthly payment, and don't borrow any more money, all right? Also, quit playing the lottery. If you can promise me that, I'll lend it to you. Thank you so much. I'll keep my promise to you, Emma. So I decided to lend Mary the money. The amount I sent her every month was $1,200. She had borrowed from various lenders, including individuals. It's a tight amount to cover each month, but I'd been getting allowances from Henry that I hadn't used yet, so I decided to lend her from that. In a way, it's like Henry's lending her the money, so I thought it was okay. But eventually, Henry will find out. Every time I saw Henry, I felt nervous, but he never found out. However, guilt started growing inside me. When her debt was about to reach $10,000, I told Mary I couldn't lend her any more. Mary was outraged. Why not? I can't make the payments like this. Then why don't you tell Henry? That's what I'm... Sorry, Mary. If Henry finds out later, he'll be furious. Let's tell him first, okay? Henry would never accept that. I'll talk to him too. Let's discuss it with Henry together. Henry isn't unreasonable. If we talk it out, lending her the money would feel right. I thought that, but Mary didn't agree. Fine then. I won't ask you for anything anymore. I'll just keep running from my debts. And with that, Mary left. I suspected she really didn't want Henry to find out, so I quietly resumed sending her money the following month. But I never received any messages or calls from her. I thought maybe she was busy, but still, no word from her. I found it odd and sent her a message that went unread. I couldn't help but wonder what was going on. Could Henry have found out? But if he had, he would have contacted me. So, he probably hadn't. These thoughts were in my mind when Henry showed up today. Henry ignored what I was saying and told me, Mary looks devastated. It can't be undone, but I want the $80,000 you sent her back. We'll consider it settled with that. You really seem to care for Mary, but you have no idea. What do you mean? Check the online banking app then. I showed Henry the app and he was clearly shocked. This is where I save the money you've been sending. See, it says it was sent in your name, right? You're kidding me. See Mary's name here? I've been sending her $1,200 a month. She said she was playing the lottery, so it's a loan for that. When she first asked for money, I asked her if it was okay not to tell you. You know what she said? She said you'd probably find it a waste of time and might divorce her over it. She was playing the lottery? You didn't know, did you? That's why she borrowed money from me to handle it discreetly. But a month ago, she stopped communicating. I thought it was strange, but assumed she was busy. Then, you showed up today. That's all there is to the story. I can't believe it. You care for Mary, and that's wonderful. But maybe you should see things more clearly. If you're that oblivious, you're not really seeing Mary, are you? I'm sorry. Henry reflected on his actions and showed remorse. I can't help but think that things might have gone smoother had he not jumped to conclusions. Still, Mary is the one to blame here. For whatever reason, she was playing the lottery, creating debt and borrowing money from me behind Henry's back. I thought there might be an explanation, but there was none. In the end, the misunderstanding led to Henry being furious with me. But there's another thing nagging at me. Is the mental illness actually real? The only pressing issue that comes to mind is debt. As I ponder this, Henry decides to go home. You didn't tell me because you thought I'd get mad, right? Sure, I might have been angry if you told me then. But to borrow money and not even tell Mom, that's just wrong. I'm gonna talk with Mary about this and sort things out. Henry's face is livid as he says this. He's probably mad about borrowing money secretly and not being straightforward with the lender. But isn't she struggling with a mental health issue? Actually, something's not right. What? Mary went to the hospital alone. I offered to go with her, but she wanted to go by herself. All I know about her condition is that it's a mental illness. I even called the hospital to confirm, and it turns out she never went. Are you serious? I think Mary didn't want any questions, so she didn't tell me the name of the hospital, but now she might not have gone at all. This clears it up. She resents you, Mom, for not lending her money anymore and wants to drive a wedge between me and you, Mom. I'm going home for now. I'll come too. A third party could help in the discussion. So Henry and I head to where Mary lives. Just before we get to the house, Henry notices something. A delivery service is bringing packages to the house. The boxes have the name of an apparel brand on them. Mary usually buys clothes in person. Could she be shopping online too? But how could she afford... Oh. At the same moment, it dawns on me. She likely used the money I had been giving her. There's a lot to unpack, but first we need to get to the bottom of it. Continuing from the previous scenario, we made our way into the house and into the living room. Inside, I caught sight of Mary, who was sifting through a pile of clothes. Which one should I go for? It's a big date, so I have to look perfect. Henry overheard this and reached his boiling point. Wow, someone who's supposedly sick seems to be having a good time. What? Why are you here, Henry? Weren't you at work? I was with Mom. More importantly, where are you planning to go, Mary? Just some shopping. Getting all dressed up for it, huh? Yes.
Ah, I see. So you've been lying all this time.
What are you talking about? I heard everything from Mom. You've been splurging on lottery tickets and beauty products, and you're in debt. Emma, I told you not to say anything. And I said we should talk about it, didn't I? Plus, I've continued to send you money and stayed in touch, but who's the one not responding? Isn't it you, Mary? Ugh! Look, I have a lot of questions, but let's start with your so-called illness. Did you actually go to the hospital? I did. Then why did they tell me you've never been there when I called? You called them? Yeah, I wanted to help in any way I could, but I found out you haven't actually been there. What is going on? Cornered. Mary finally came clean. Fine. I lied about everything. I made up stories to get money. You're not one to splurge, Henry, so you wouldn't buy me what I wanted. I've bought you clothes and other necessities a couple of times a month. What are you talking about? You don't get it. When I want something, I want to buy it then and there. That's why I've been asking Emma for money. I knew both of you are tight with your wallet, so I made up the debt story. So the lottery thing, a lie. I'm not in debt. Mary looked at Henry and me as if she had the upper hand, but I wasn't fazed. Mary, I'll be taking my money back. What? Didn't I just say I've already spent it? Sorry, but I consulted an expert when you said you needed to borrow money. I thought I couldn't charge family, but it turns out I can if I've been deceived. We'll need to consult a lawyer for details. What? A lawyer? We're family. Even so, remember, I lent you money when you said you needed it. And didn't I say we should make it formal with an IOU? Sorry, but the contract still holds. You'll need to pay it back. By the way, who are you dating? You mentioned it earlier. Did I say that? Yes, you did. Is your date the young man waiting outside? At that moment, a young man was indeed waiting outside the house. Well, no more excuses. I can't believe I owe you and have extra to pay on top of that, but it's my own fault. And so, the curtain closed on this incident. Afterward, Mary had to repay both the money she swindled from me and the compensation to Henry. Of course, she divorced Henry. I was deceived by her for a moment, but in the end, what goes around comes around. Since then, she's been working tirelessly, sparing no time for sleep. She has absolutely no time for leisure. As for me, my happy daily life returned. Henry and I are getting along better than ever. Despite the ups and downs, it's great to come back to a good relationship. It makes me appreciate family. I vowed never to keep important matters from Henry and to consult with him more. In that sense, this whole experience has been a valuable lesson.